All right, let's get to the AFC North. The Bengals, the Steelers, the Browns, the Ravens, and we are starting with the last season review, right, baby? Man, what did homie do this time? Let's see
I
here.
don't know. All I know is
This
that, well,
time,
while you doing that, man, we know
yeah,
what happened on the field. There was a whole lot of drama between Baker Mayfield and
in that
Odell
whole
Beckham,
division.
and then there was a trade, and then the whole Big Ben's last year,
Yeah.
and all of that, and he limped his way into a game to where something mattered at the end. I don't know how, but he made it and almost made it look interesting. Baltimore's injury riddled season. We don't even know if that's going to continue to this year. It looks like it might already. You're going to hear about that. And of course, the Bengal Cats ride it all the way to the Super Bowl, and might have changed the tide in that division by putting their stripe banner up and letting everybody know. What did we think last year about some of these teams going
Let's
in?
see. Cincy last year at the beginning was over under was 6.5. I took the over. You didn't take anything on that one.
I didn't
Pitts,
have Cincinnati.
no, you did not. Uh,
Wow.
Pittsburgh was 8.5. They finished with 9. I took the under. You took the
Mm.
over.
Hey,
And Cleveland was 10.5. We both took the over. They finished at 8. And then Baltimore was
I was
11.
trying to give them a fair shake.
I took the under and you took the over on that one. So uh you did hit the Pittsburgh over because you hit the
That was that
9.
was that was it. Yeah.
That was it. So but yeah, Cincinnati was 6.5. I figured that was the easy one, which I don't know how you did. Yeah, we must have missed that one because I have a feeling
Well,
you would have called that one easy
that's
too.
why I'm tripping right now, because it wasn't too long till we were on it, because I think I was on it right away. I was speaking it into existence.
Yeah,
Whether or not I put it down on wax is another thing. But man, hey, look, this division at this time last year was the talk of the town. Now I don't know. I don't know about you.
now it's the talk of the town due to Baker leaving, Lamar waiting to get a contract
Yeah,
maybe tomorrow
yeah.
or by Friday is
And
his
fast
deadline
forward 10 game suspension for Deshaun
for
Watson.
Deshaun having a his suspension. Pittsburgh in there with Mike Tomlin being there forever.
Yeah,
You got
you want to think about him just
John
because it's
Harbaugh being
historic.
in there.
Yeah,
This is the division of coaches where they're
yep.
always going to put up a fight in a game usually for you.
It
It's a
seemed like
drama filled division, but not a
everybody
bad
left though.
division.
Everybody who was in this division left. Every name that you ever heard of in this division left, except for Lamar Jackson. Okay. Now you bring in Deshaun Watson, but you're not seeing him for 10 weeks. You bring in Amari Cooper, okay, but you have him there with Jacoby Brissett. He wasn't in this division last year. You get rid of Juju Smith-Schuster. He ain't in this division no more. All of the wide receivers from the Steelers ain't in this division no more, except for Deontay. So, hey, as far as this division goes, for me,
They have a heavy running back division. You got Najee, you got J.K. Dobbins, you got Nick Chubb, you got Joe Mixon across the board. Like you said, Pittsburgh, they still have what Deontay Johnson at their receiver position.
I got Cincinnati equal or slightly better than Baltimore, as far as team standings, and if you was just to rate them. And then I have Pittsburgh and Cleveland down in the bottom, in the high 20s.
This is
If
off
if
your
if I'm breaking them, yeah,
this is your
in my
top
power rank.
list. Yeah, power rankings, the homie power
So
rankings.
the way that I look at it, I feel like the schedule should play out to script. So who am I looking at defending champion in this division? I'm looking at the Bengals. So what is their number? 9.5. their number is not even the highest number in that division. The highest number in the division is given to the Ravens. So now the Ravens, who were injury riddled last year, who you couldn't say one way or another what they were going to do based on last year because they were injured. But now all of a sudden this year, with some of that stuff still lingering, some of the defensive guys back, all of a sudden they instantaneously move forward in that division with no additional weapons added offensively, just subtractions offensively, unless you're counting their running backs that are now healthy or the one or two of them that are.
The Ravens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean you got what?
I don't understand
J.K.
how
Dobbins, Mike Davis, and Gus Edwards.
they're the AFC champions, bro. How are they not favored in that division? So what I look at is to fade the Ravens. That's just the way that I looked at it. So I don't think that
interesting.
I don't
Well,
think the
got it real quick, the AFC North plays the AFC East and the NFC South, and they play the NFC East in their 17th game. If you're looking at let's see, Baltimore,
yeah.
So they got, Miami, New England, Buffalo all in a row, or they got the Jets, Miami, New England, and Buffalo all in a row. Baltimore.
Yeah.
To start off with.
And I know the Cincinnati's got like from after their bye week in week 10.
Yeah, after week 10, Cincinnati, you said?
Yeah.
They got at Pitt, at Tennessee, and then they have KC and Cleveland at home. So they go two away, 2 home, 2 away, and 2 home after that, after their bye week.
From September to October, they have a stretch where they only have 1 game at home. That's from September to October.
If you look at it, I mean, yeah, they're the defending AFC champions, right? So, did they have to really bolster their roster to get a whole lot better? No, they made some moves to the offensive line. So that's good for them because obviously Joe Burrow was on his back a whole lot, and he was in his back a whole lot in the playoffs. He got sacked like 19 times in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows how many times Donald got him? He did get him on that last play, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, when I'm looking at it, I think it's a tough one to decide to pick one. As far as like the over under,
I don't. Yeah, because I'm looking. I don't even think that there's an edge, even with some of the way that the schedule makeup, because they're going to get the NFC South, so that means they'll get Atlanta, they'll get a little Carolina. Okay, all of these teams will get a little bit of that. They'll get an AFC East. They'll get a little bit of the Jets. They'll get a little bit of Patriots. So I don't know. These teams are gonna have a tough go at it. Let me look at this real quick. I've had this pulled up. Cincinnati has the number three strength of schedule, hardest schedule based on strength of schedule. I have Cincinnati as a layup over because I think that they have a 10 in them. I think that they have a 10 in them with some of these lower rung, because you're going to have 2 teams in your division who are, on the lower end of the totem pole with Pittsburgh and Cleveland. If you can get Cleveland in the first half of the season, which I can't remember what Cincinnati has. I don't have their schedule pulled up.
Cincinnati.
But if you can get Cleveland in the first half of the season, then you can be flying a little bit. You can get both of those games out of the way in division, and then you get a limping Jets team. Maybe you get a weak Atlanta team. You get a Carolina team that's not ready. Maybe a couple of these teams, Cincinnati can scoop out some wins, but the strength of schedule don't say that. The strength of schedule says you're up there with the Rams in terms of opponents' win percentages against on the schedule this year. So yeah, I'm definitely fading the Ravens this year.
So you would take the Ravens in the under 10.5?
I think both of these teams are a 10. And then what's going to end up happening is there's going to be a log jam, and it'll be a very similar situation to the Raiders and Chargers last season.
Similar, huh? Well, I mean, I'm gonna go against your Cincinnati. I think they get to 9. So I'm gonna take the under on Cincinnati. 9.5 is their over under. And
Okay.
then Pittsburgh 7.5.
Yeah.
For some reason, Mike Tomlin always finds a way to get above 500. And to do that, he has to get to 8, right? Maybe 9. They
Yeah,
had a
he's got to
tie.
get to 9 because there's no
Yeah, well, they had a
500 no
tie
more.
last year, so they were 9,
So
7,
he
and
found
1.
a way.
9,
He
7,
found a
and 1
way.
last year.
Yeah.
So I
Found a
think they
way.
at least get to 8, to get above the 7.5, and probably find a way to stay above 500. It's like Mike Tomlin ends up doing. I mean, with Kenny Pickett on the bench too. I mean, we're gonna see how Trubisky, how much of a leeway he has
Yeah.
with them. And then
What do you think?
Kenny
Do
Pickett
you
looked
think
decent, I
Trubisky's
guess.
got some rope? Do you think they got some rope for Trubisky?
Yeah, I think they will. I think unless the wheels fall off.
That's the biggest thing is for them is, are you going to stick with Trubisky, or are you going to go with the fans clamoring in the stadiums at home games at Heinz for hometown boy Kenny Pickett? Okay, so you got to temper that down a little bit, and I think, to be honest, you have to let Mitch Trubisky cook. I've been saying Mitch Trubisky was going to get a job. I told you he was going to get a job after last year when he spent his time getting right up in Buffalo. He came right back out, got this job immediately. Not really immediately, because they just called it the other day, named QB1.
Right.
But he got his job, and I think he's going to hold on to his spot in the situation, and he's going to be able to work these angles.
He got the C2, so
yeah, I think he'll be able to work these angles. He's been, what off-season word on the street was, he was calling guys in before they even acquired Kenny Pickett. He was calling in guys to do off-season throws, Tom Brady style.
Yeah, and I mean, he was definitely took leadership once he got there. And I think the nice thing with that is you have Tomlin, who's been there a while, knows how to coach. You got Trubisky, who came in there, like you said, you told him he needed to take his time and get a little a look at a different scenario when he was released by the Bears and went to Buffalo for that year, followed around, got some good coaching. Now he's back as a starter, and then you could let Kenny Pickett sit there. I mean, there's high praise for Kenny Pickett out there. So, this could be one of those where I know I've heard a lot of people talk that the coaches are like, they're almost starting to go back into that when the rookie quarterback comes in. Let's make sure they're just like Trey Lance in San Francisco, sit behind 1 year, see what happens, and get the knowledge of the playbook, and then boom, next year. So not saying that Trubisky's going to be out after this year.
Some of these people be tripping when these quarterbacks have to sit down for a little while and then circle back around for that next go. What do you mean? You got a first round talent at quarterback. You have a first round pick at quarterback. Okay. Not only do you have a first round pick at quarterback, he has already been in NFL locker rooms now. I mean, it's a win-win situation. So he's taking NFL coaching. He's been in high-risk situations, that with media, the whole nine. So I think that situation with Mitch Trubisky is cool. We already know with Cleveland, we could talk.
I was just going to say.
We could talk Cleveland's questions and clouds to death, and I don't think any of the off-field stuff has anything to do with on-field stuff. On-field, I just don't think that there's anything really to talk about. What is anything on that roster? Playmakers that give you any calls to pause? Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Peoples Jones, and then I'm lost. So what you end up with is
Amari Cooper, watching... but who knows how he's going to be. He hasn't been.
See, there you go. We forgot major acquisitions. Amari Cooper. I forgot to go back to that. We did mention that. Amari Cooper, big acquisition.
It's going to be a steady dose of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt and Dearness Johnson, baby.
And that's what they like
Fantasy
to do.
sleeper for you. Yeah, I mean that's really all you can do with Jacoby Brissett at the helm. It's like having Geno Smith at the helm. Um, so
No,
yeah,
yeah. Any major questions from Cincinnati? Any concerns about Joe Burrow's appendix or whatever he had taken out? Or
no, I think you got to keep old boy upright and not get him
major
turf.
investments in the line.
Yeah, and make sure he doesn't get caught by the turf monster all the time, rubbing his head in the dirt, and keep him upright and see what happens. Um,
That's a tough
but
schedule, though.
I
That's a
mean,
tough
eight and
schedule,
a.
though.
Let's roll
Eight and
into
a
the
half on Cleveland to the under.
under. Yeah, easy.
That's what I got. That's what I got. That's a like. I got that. Let me give you real quick before we move into, just as a quick break, just to go off speed real quick, the top 10 teams strength of schedule 2022 season. Number 1, LA Rams, Arizona Cardinals, Cincinnati Bengals at 3. Number 4, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Number 5, San Francisco 49ers. Also at 5 would be the Chiefs. That's same strength of schedule. Tied for 7th, Vegas Raiders, New Orleans Saints. Keep that in mind when you're calling out young Crab later.
You already know.
Number 9, Atlanta Falcons. I don't know how they got screwed, but they got screwed. And number LA Chargers, Young Herb. And on the outside looking in, your
Interesting.
Seattle Seahawks on the outside looking in. So even with the problems with Seahawks, they still got a top 10 schedule against Falcons with a top 10 schedule against. That sucks for them. So they'll be looking for that first round draft choice coming around this year. But everybody else is deserving to have that style of a schedule. It's just going out there and making this stuff happen, man, and performing on the field. And I think in this division, for us, this is those 10 a.m. games for us, watching this division go at it in the Midwest versus each other and in their conference. So yeah, the morning games, man, gonna be a slow tread with Cleveland, Baltimore, and Pittsburgh, and would you be hoping these Cincinnati games, man, so we can watch something that's exciting going on with this division.